I'm Purvi Mehta. I head the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's agriculture programs across Asia. India has come a long way in terms of its basic development challenges. When you look at the infrastructure, when you look at the education and several of those very basic challenges, we've come a very long way. Agriculture is one of those extremely proud sector where we have come a very long way from being a totally sort of a food deficit country in some sense, where we used to rely on exports, to a country that has become one of the largest producer of food and also one of the top exporters of food now. Of course, we have come a very long way as a country, and especially last few years we've made a lot of progress in terms of the nutrition indicators, but India has a long way to go on some of the nutrition challenges. So on one hand, we produce we are one of the largest producers of food, and on the other hand we also host a very large population of world's malnutrient people. So India, as the government has been doing it since a few years, needs to continue to pay attention to the nutrition challenge. So if you look at the consumption pattern of the Indian population, close to 58% of India's diet come from two crops, which is rice and wheat. These are our staple crops, right, from where our majority of our diets come. People continue to eat those, which is a very interesting, which is a very important thing from a caloric perspective. But if one can add some of the nutrition aspect to those staple crops, which predominantly does not give nutrition but it gives only calories, we can make crops which are not just food sufficient but also nutrition sufficient, and that's what biofortification does. There are a very large number of rice varieties, starting from the Kala Namak variety of UP, several varieties of rice which are existing, which can have a higher nutrition content. But they are not necessarily the most commercially grown rice varieties because they may have a yield trade-off, and therefore they are not commercially promoted. If you take some of those traits of the existing traits of nutrition in some of those varieties, and if you promote that, that also in some sense kind of contributes towards the nutrition challenges. Very interestingly, the dependence on locally grown and locally sourced food in a country like ours is very high. A very large number of Indian population, rural population, and also population with higher challenges of malnutrition are also people who depend on agriculture, and therefore what they grow, or what their village grows, or what their community grows is what they eat. And therefore diversifying into the farming system, promoting varieties that they are growing, which also has, apart from the yield, which also addresses the challenge of nutrition, would definitely have a very direct impact on the household diets, and therefore a healthier India, as you said. I think the Indian government is the largest investor in any development challenge, and the government has consistently been investing very large resources across all development challenges, and we see that it is having clear return on investment. So I think the Indian government is the largest donor for any of those things, but several international organizations or donors, so to say, could also play a critical role in several areas, such as, for example, bringing in some of the global lessons. What do we learn from that? Bringing in those kind of co-learning opportunities between countries. And I think that's the kind of catalytic role donors can play. I think no donor, especially in an Indian condition, can be larger than what the government is already putting. But the donors working with the government and not necessarily for the government or on behalf of the government, I think that the donors could bring quite important inputs into this. I think it's an extremely welcome step. And I'm really very glad to be part of the first jury, because and if you see the jury member, it's a cross section of people who are involved with Nutrition Challenge, people from the government of India, people from sectors like livestock, people from sectors of agriculture, people who are also involved with turning food into recipes, for example. So it's a very welcome step, and I really want to thank and congratulate Outlook for looking into and addressing the very important issue of nutrition, which often remains an unfelt need. So congratulations to that, and very happy to be associated with it. I think India has come a very long way in many development challenges. Nutrition is one challenge we haven't fully been able to address, and let's put all of our minds together, our resources together to address this challenge of nutrition, because that is what will make us into a trajectory of a developed nation.